Yes, Daddy, yes.
So I have lately watched videos or shorts of content creators, African American content creators, talking about the K-pop, the K-pop music itself, and K-pop fans who are K-pop fans of color. And again, I know these videos have been around out for years and people have heard these arguments, but I would like to weigh in. I've been wanting to do this video for a long time, another video that I've been wanting to do, to weigh in on how I feel and put some perspective on being a black K-pop fan and why I listen to K-pop music. So we're going to get into it. But again, where are my manners? Año, 안녕하세요. Nihoma, namaste. Hola, guten tag, dos vidinha. Hello, everybody out there around the world. My name is Nomadic Kitty. Welcome to my channel. I am BTS Army. BTS Army is the foundation, but it's not the mission. I do talk about things about the K-pop industry. And also the American music industry. I touch on a little bit of that too. I come from a family of musicians. I come from a family that have been in the American music industry in various places, either as session musicians or writers or mixers or editors. And also I do have 3 people that I know that are in and around the Korean music industry. So I always give my insights on what I think. And they know the fact that I'm just grown. I'm a grown person. So, I've been around the world a bit. So I just give my opinions and commentary on certain topics. So like, share, subscribe my channel. I do have a K-pop store linked to my channel. This shirt in particular says hip hop to K-pop. This is an original design. I do original designs for those of us who are a bit, let's just say, mature, who are K-pop fans who are mature. I do merchandise. I just design merchandise for us K-pop stans who are mature and want something a little bit, a little bit more edgy, I guess you could say it. And then also write a BTS fan fiction Wattpad. I put links in the comments to my really realistic fan fiction BTS Yoongi based Wattpad story that is in book 2 right now. As of today, it's 2025, it's in book 2. But anyway, so let's get started after I have my introductions. Hello, welcome all the new people. Welcome to my members too. And welcome to people who watch my videos all the time. But I'm just going to give it to you guys raw, okay? I'm just going to talk to you guys. And this video is for everybody, even if you're not a person of color. And you're just curious, then come on, we gonna have this conversation. So Koreans, people of color, Caucasian persuasions, everybody, non-melanated people, gently melanated people, who people speak all languages, come on, gather around. Now, I'm not here to offend anybody, and I try my hardest not to be offensive because I am a little bit abrasive sometimes, but I tone that down a lot on my channel. But here I'm going to be let loose a little bit more. So for me, I grew up, and I'm a woman of a certain age, and I grew up in the golden age of hip hop. So I grew up in the 80s. Okay. So I grew up when the hip hop was basically in its infancy. It was emerging. It was subversive. It was raw. It was catchy. It was edgy. It was on the fringes of society. You had b-boys and pop lockers and DJs in the East Coast. I'm from the Northeast. So the home, the heart of hip hop, where people were spitting out rhymes on the corners. When I was a kid, hip hop was the new thing. I fell in love with hip hop at an early age. I like KRS-One and Public Enemy and Salt and Pepper and Jam Master Jay and Run DMC and all Funk Master Flex and all this stuff. This is the music that I grew up watching. Crush Groove. I love Crush Groove. It was a hip hop movie. First time I ever seen a movie with so many black folks in it was Crush Groove. And I loved it because it was like my block. It's like I grew up in the hood. So, at the end of the day, I tell everybody I'm a hood chick at the end of the day. I'm a professional corporate person, degreed and all that. But at the end of the day, my background is, I have an urban street background. And so I always will be that. I may be intelligent and all that and intellectual, but at the end of the day, I am where I am and I'm proud of where I came from, on my block. I'm proud of where I came from, my roots. And so my roots has always been music on top of that. My family has always played music instruments. I'm not a musician. I don't play any instruments. It skipped a few of us. I'm a writer and I'm an artist, like physical art, like drawing, painting, designing. That's my thing. But my family, for the most part, have always been either in church or either secular or the church music scene. So that's just giving you some baseline of where I'm coming from, because some of y'all come to my channel thinking y'all schooling me and y'all not schooling anything. If you look on my channel, I've done videos about the history, where K-pop came from, the producers, the African American and people of color producers behind some of the biggest hits in K-pop. And I've also done a video about the history of choreography, where the choreography came from, how it got started, how b-boy and pop locking and breaking went from America over to Korea. So I know the history of K-pop. I know the history of the American music industry as well. And I respect all genres. However, right around, I said 2005, back in the day, about around that time, I was in my 20s. And so I was really into Timberland and Missy and Tupac and Biggie and all that kind of stuff. That was cool. I tell people, I didn't leave the American music industry. The American music industry left me. And I know a lot of our of us people of color K-pop stans, especially, ones in America, that's how we feel. The genre that I grew up with, listening to Jodeci, I could bump Jodeci, and then I could go over here and listen to Boogie Down Productions if I wanted to go back a little bit. I can go and listen to some Tupac and Biggie, or I can listen to A Tribe Called Quest. We had variety in our music. If I gotta listen to another song with the same 4 trap beats talking about perk, 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 molly, molly, molly. Now look, I love a good trap beat. Your girl likes to twerk. I like to get my twerk on and dance on like anybody else. I love Meg Thee Stallion. I love Cardi B. I respect those sisters in the music industry. But if I hear another song about touch it, touch my pocket, put it in my pee, rub my titties, my cha-cha, if I gotta hear another song, I gave up on mainstream music a long time ago before I even got into K-pop. I've been into K-pop since 2022. I've been BTS Summer since 2024. Before 2022, I gave up on mainstream music, and a lot of us have. I'm not just speaking for myself. I talk about Jennifer, my K-pop pusher, my gateway into this K-pop world. She gave up on mainstream music in 2015. So for 10 years, she listens to nothing but K-pop, really. Right now, I listen to nothing but K-pop and old school music. I couldn't tell you who. My kids don't listen to mainstream music. I have to go look at the Billboard charts every now and then. My kids think mainstream music sucks. I think mainstream music sucks. When it comes, we don't even have they changed the charts. We don't even have neo soul, R&B. What happened? What happened? And I'm not blaming these artists. I'm blaming the American music industry. I like gangster rap. God knows I love Tupac, but I can't listen to that all day. I can't listen to women being called bees and hoes for 10 songs straight. You take that ish in moderation. I like variety with my music. I like rock music. I like soul. I like EDM. I like all kinds of music. Back in the day, hip hop and R&B, when it dominated in the 90s in particular, there was much more variety. I can go listen to Usher, and then I can go listen to Jay-Z. I can listen to Jay-Z and Usher, do a song together. I sometimes I want to chill, and sometimes I want to turn up. Sometimes I want to listen to mind-numbing pop, hip-hop music with a catchy beat, with an upbeat. Sometimes I want to listen to something that's a bit more deep and a more serious. What happened to that? All of that has slowly but systematically went away. Now you have to go find underground rappers and underground hip hop artists. And again, I know there are smaller rappers, but I'm talking about in the mainstream music lexicon for R&B, rap, soul. In the iteration that it is now, and right now, it doesn't exist like it did back then. So I gave up. And then me giving up drew me to K-pop. When I first heard K-pop here and there before I got into K-pop, I heard a lot of Girls' Generation. So for those of you who don't know, Girls' Generation is very like bubblegum pop. It's very like catchy, it's light, it's airy, they're a girls group, bubblegum pop. I heard some other boy bands, and it was more like kind of like a rock kind of pop. I've never been into NSYNC or Spice Girls or nothing like that. I'm not. I've never been into boy bands in the West. So I never into One Direction or nothing like that. So when I heard K-pop the few times that I did, it was very bubblegum pop. It was very like rock pop kind of sound. Like I said, they're One Direction, they're Girls' Generation. That no 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 no. It kind of sounds like an OST, or it kind of sound. I said this kind of sounds like an anime, like the ending of an anime show. And I'm like, nah, that's okay, but no thanks. So everything that I had listening in K-pop sounded like the ending or beginning of an anime show. So that's the music that I heard. When I went to a TXT concert in 2022, and I heard TXT get up there and start singing, my ears perked up, and I'm like, this is K-pop? Because I'd heard some BTS. And again, BTS I heard is 2016 was the HYYH. Was I need you, girl. Na, 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 na. Like, to me, that's really, really pop flavor that I don't like. But when I heard TXT do songs, I was like, what? Then I heard In Hyping. I heard, it's you and me in this world, so come kiss me and bite me. I was like, I heard that bass drop. I heard doom 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 doom. I was like, I know what this is. I know what this is. This is R&B. Oh my God. That's one of the first, besides TXT and Hyping songs, or a few songs that I heard. When I heard Bite Me, I was like, this is an R&B song. This is like R&B song I used to listen to in the 90s. So K-pop is notoriously known to be 10 years behind American music. When I heard Fever, 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 I was like, I know what this is. Like a fever, 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 fever. I was like, that's R&B. That's R&B. I've said it before, there's nothing original about K-pop. The producers and the writers, a lot of them are from the West. A lot of producers and writers of your favorite hits are writers and producers of color. Again, I did a whole video about it. K-pop, from the dressing, from the singing, from the songs, is heavily borrowed from R&B, rap, EDM, techno. It's heavily borrowed from genres of music invented by Black folks. I mean, just keep it real. People talking about keep Korean, and the only thing Korean about K-pop is really the language. But even like down to the trainee systems, down to the way the agencies are organized, it's very derivative from America. They took things from old Hollywood, Motown, and the American music scene. That's all K-pop has ever been. It is a amalgamation and blending of westernized music with other elements, but hardly any of those elements besides the Korean language is Korea. Hey, idols know this, who are smart, who understand the history of music. They understand that. Lee Soo-man, who started the first agency, was a singer who patterned his business and his groups after Motown. So that's not a lie. That's not rumor. That's not my opinion. That's just fact. If you look up the history of these agencies and these groups, that's just a fact. They borrowed heavily from our culture, a lot. And I understand that. I recognize that. But again, I like variety in my music. American hip hop and R&B music, we went from songs about love. I'm not really into love songs. We went from Luther to Usher, Tevin Campbell. We went from that to now everybody's like perk, perk, Molly, Molly, cocaine, cocaine, women, 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 titties, titties. I'm like, okay, that's fine, but I would like to hear more than that. We went from female MCs like MC Light, Roxanne Shante, God Salt and Pepper, to Cardi B, Glorilla, and Sexy Red, and Meg Thee Stallion. And again, I love Meg Thee Stallion. I love Cardi B. Oh, and Nicki. Put Nicki in there. But even they are like the old school, because they've been in the industry for a long time. And now we have these, I can't get into Doechii. I can't get in it because the agencies realized that sex sells. The agency realized they took the formula, what was selling in hip hop and K-pop, and they beat it down into the ground. It doesn't matter if it's trap. It doesn't matter if it's gangster rap back in the day. It doesn't matter what it is. They don't want to take a risk. They're like, this is the narrative we're pushing, and we're just going to keep pushing it. R&B went to the wayside. Neo soul went to the wayside. Any type of variety went to the wayside in the music. The labels set up a formula and have been beating it into the ground for years. Again, I like NBA Youngboy, but I don't need 10 different rappers to sound like King Von or NBA Youngboy. I'm good. I'm like, oh, do y'all all sound alike? Okay, y'all ain't got no Tableau-esque. We ain't got no Epic High over here. We ain't got no RM. You have Tyler, the Creator. You have Kendrick Lamar. Everybody else is Perk, Molly, or mumble rappers. Again, I didn't leave. I'm here. My taste in music has evolved and changed over the years, just like music has. I don't expect music to stay the same, but I do expect a little variety. A little variety in my music. Something different now and then. American music, especially R&B and rap music, become very derivative. So again, when you go to K-pop, I got my variety. I got my EDM, I got my techno, I got my soul, I got my hip hop, whatever. I do not agree with cultural appropriation in any way. Y'all know how I feel about All Day Project and Tarzan and his stunts. If you don't know who that is, I've done videos about it. I do not agree with cultural appropriation, anything like that. But I do believe that good music is good music. And I do believe to understand, I know what I like. I'm a rap line girl. I like hip hop, I like rap, I like soul, I like rock music. I like a variety in my music. And I don't want to sit here and go on SoundCloud and dig and find some underground singers or rappers in order to hear what I need to hear. I like to go to concerts. I like to go to tours. I like to go to festivals. I like to do all these things. And so besides the music, the musicality, the showmanship of R&B and rap left us as well. So that is a conversation that gets left off. But I'm here to bring it to you. So let's talk about the showmanship. So these people want to focus on the music. The music, the sound is stolen from black folks. Nobody really talks about the showmanship. That gets left out of the conversation. Again, your girl like a good show. If I'm going to spend $500 on tickets and I got to sit there in the audience and watch some mumble ass rapper go up and down the stage, go back and forth, hey, yo, or show up late. I don't know how many hip hop concerts and tours I've been to in my 20s where the artist didn't show up on time. The artist got on stage and they brought in a guest star, and the guest star did half of the damn show. Sir, I came here to see you. I didn't come here to listen to the opening act for an hour. I came here to see you. That's what I paid for. I didn't come up here and listen to your hype man be spotlighted now. I didn't come and watch you walk up and down the stage, and that's it. And I'm like, oh, okay. I've seen Korean hip hop artists and they have a whole stage show with lights and a DJ. At least the Korean artists know how to bring it, honey. Now, if you're into like Beyonce and Taylor Swift, I'm not into girl singers. So for them, it's a whole different thing. They bring the costumes in the show and everything like that. But the rappers, even the male R&B singers, they get on stage and dance a little bit. But again, that's a older time. Usher, Chris Brown, they put on a show. We have slowly gotten away from that. But Usher and Chris Brown now are in their 40s. We've gotten away from that. It slowly but surely started to become more and more rare that you would actually have an R&B or a rap artist put on a show. They just stand up on stage and walk back and forth, and there's stuff flashing in the background. They don't interact with the audience. Hardly. And you pay lots of money for a ticket going, this it? Like, oh, okay. So again, it's not just the K-pop music, it's the showmanship. When I go to a K-pop concert, I've been to a lot of K-pop concerts. There's confetti, there's lasers, there's light beams, there's smoke, everything. They come out and they have a whole dance group. They have a whole breakdown, dance number. Y'all didn't see, you can watch concerts on YouTube if you're not familiar with K-pop, just for those of you who are watching this who are not familiar. They have a bunch of dancers on stage, or they're dancing the whole damn show. What R&B singers are dancing the whole show anymore? Besides the older ones. Besides the Chris Browns and the Ushers in one bag. And those are few and far in between. Most of them have dropped out of the industry. But again, I don't want to stand up there. What rappers are up there dancing? Again, I've seen a hip-hop Korean group. Several of them online, and I saw Epic High. And they put on a real show. They're interacting with the audience. They're not just, hey, yo, everybody, yay, okay. You know, it's a set. It's a set list. They got screens and furniture and shit. I like a good show. I grew up in the age of Michael Jackson, Prince, James Brown, where these people got out here and put it all out there on the stage to their audiences. They would dance. Michael would dance and sing and talk to the audience. Prince, the same thing, would stand up there and play, swing the guitar around his damn head, run up and down the stage in heels, run up and down the stage in heels. I can't run up and down no stage in no damn heels. Prince did. He would hump the floor. Prince be up there, yeah, bitch, yeah. yeah, girl, yeah. He would body roll and hump the floor, and I was like, oh my, okay. What happened to the showmanship? What happened? So again, I didn't leave the music of my people that were created. It's still in me. It's still within me. I still love hip hop. I still love neo soul. I still love R&B. I still love rap. I love all of it. And I appreciate the people who started these genres. And again, as the family coming from a family of musicians, I get it and I understand. But again, that genre in America, they stopped doing that. It costs too much money to put on these elaborate shows. The production values went down, and men don't dance no more. I can't even get men to dance in America anymore. Yes, there are professional choreographers and hip hoppers and pop lockers. Yes, professionals. Rappers don't dance no more. R&B singers don't dance no more. Like I said, Usher, Chris Brown, and all that. New Edition, they're a dying breed. They don't have groups anymore. We don't have groups anymore in the American music industry. So I like groups. I miss the groups. I wasn't a big fan of the American groups, but at least they brought diversity to the music. We don't have that anymore. So don't tell me about us K-pop fans, us people of color K-pop fans. We still love everything about music. I still love the golden age of hip hop. I still love it. But again, I need variety in my music, and I get the variety in K-pop. But again, to me, K-pop is our music. It is our music. At the end of the day, it is ours. When I listen to a fresh trap beat, when I hear a EDM backtrack, when I hear some bass guitar and a funky bass drop, I'm like, oh, there you go. That's soul, that's R&B, that's techno, that's house. I understand where the music comes from, and I have a deep appreciation for it. But what's happening now, let me bring on to this point before I end this video. What is happening now for a lot of the older K-pop fans? Now, the K-pop fans now are feeling like us R&B fans. So the older K-pop fans who've been into K-pop for 10 years feel like their music is pushing them out to something else, or just listening to old school stuff. Why? Because K-pop is becoming derivative. K-pop is becoming cookie cutter. K-pop is becoming, everybody's starting to sound alike and look the same because the agencies have figured out the formula for K-pop to make it successful. They figure like they all got to have the same concepts. They all got to have the same kind of music, and they're just basically copying off of each other. So the same things that I went through with the American music industry 10 years ago, K-pop fans now are like, what is happening to K-pop? When the agencies or the record labels or whatever get a hold of something and it becomes successful, again, they beat it down into the ground. And that's what's happening. They don't want to take any risks because that costs money if it fails. They want to crank out the same groups, dressed the same, with the same kind of music, remixed, with the same lame lyrics over and over and over again. So now K-pop is experiencing the same thing that hip-hop is and rap and R&B is experiencing. A lack of diversity, a lack of originality, a lack of ingenuity. So I don't know what the future of K-pop is even going to be. I'm BTS army. I'm waiting for BTS, and again, there's always a second generation, third generation, the fourth generation still going strong, but the fifth and the sixth generation, I don't know what's going to happen. Again, like with the fifth generation coming up, even for me, some of it is like, okay, I don't really vibe with that. But a lot of the people who are into second and third generation feel like they are now being left behind by K-pop because they feel like, what happened? There used to be a lot more different groups and different bands and different concepts and different sounds. And now everybody is slowly but surely becoming cookie cutter. And you have to stick to listening to Stray Kids or BTS or Twice or Red Velvet because you just can't rock with Cordis and Eyelid and the Boys Next Door. Like, people are like, I can't rock with that. So it's happening in K-pop as well. So we will see. So maybe one day hip hop and rap and R&B will come back to us. But in the meantime, I'm going to be sitting around waiting for that BTS comeback. So what do you think? Like, share, subscribe, put it in the comments. What do you think? Did you feel like R&B music and everything left you behind as well? What do you think about the American music industry as it stands right now? But anyway, until next time, y'all, I'm out of here.